Coming to you from the heart of the Pacific, brought to you by Pauly by Design.
Respected at all times.
Broadcasting from San Francisco, California, the city by the bay.
It's about to go down.
We shine on positive Pacific Islander role model every Sunday. From 10 a.m. to noon, it's time for the iconic Faika podcast with your hosts,
Listening to
Naki and Carl.
Ooh, ooh. I can't hear it. I can't hear shit.
We're supposed to do mic checks before we start, but here we go.
You're loud.
You're loud.
Are you loud?
I'm loud.
Oh, good. Yay. It's working then.
Righty. Back in your lives again. Good morning, family.
Good morning.
New day,
Morning.
new week, and one more brand new show for the week. It's the 16th of June, 2019, and you are listening to Season 3, Episode 21 of the international broadcast of the Faika podcast. I'm your host, Carl. With me, as always, your second host, the lovely Naki. Good morning, Naki.
Martins.
Also in the Pauly by Design Media Center this morning, late but in time, our Coco Neil Veve.
Hey,
good morning, Neil.
Good morning.
He came running in like he knew exactly when to get here.
Like, are the chips here?
Today in the first hour, it is all about the check-ins from me, Naki, and Neo. A whole bunch of interesting stuff to talk about in the first hour. In the second hour, we have an intriguing story brought to us by our newest PBD member, Leah Poasa. Leah made a connection with Katarina Henretty and booked her in for this morning. It's an amazing story of an off-island adoption, followed by a journey of reconnection and drive to connect with her culture. I can't wait to hear Katarina's story today. That's the second hour, and that is our show. Naki, what's up?
Yay. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy Father's Day.
That's right.
Happy
It
Father's
is Happy
Day.
Father's Day
Happy
to
Father's
all the fathers
Day.
out there.
Yes. Happy Father's Day to my daddy, to my baby daddy, to my boyfriend, to Kalolo. Happy Father's Day to everyone.
That's a lot of daddies.
That's a lot of daddies. Yesterday, my boo-boo's graduation barbecue with my nephew Noah. It was cold in the morning, and then it ended up being a really nice day. So thank you to everyone who came out and celebrated Boo-Boo and Noakster's graduation. The Warriors, Golden State Warriors, they did not win the championship, but damn, they had a good season.
Yeah, they did, huh?
So congratulations to our Warriors. Whoop, whoop. And then what else? Samoan language and culture class was on Friday, was another hit. Samoa did a really good job. And then
He was on his A game.
he was on his
this
A
week.
game. It was a really, really good class.
Nice.
There was a lot of new people that came in.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So Susie came down all the way from Sacramento.
There was a gang of people from Sacramento.
A gang of
Wow.
people.
Yeah.
You.
Yeah, I'm always there, though. But, I mean, usually it was like me and Trey in the last class, and that's it. There
Yeah.
was like 4 or 5 other people from Sacramento.
Yeah.
It's needed.
Susie was down with her girls. Who else was in there? Sophia and Elgin. Jonah. DJ. I mean, there was a lot of people in class. A lot of people that we read the same, greeting this week, and a lot of people that were there last week did
Way better.
like 200% improvement. Tanyalu did a really good reading this week. Improved a million times.
It was he was really taking his time and making
Yes.
sure the previous week, and it took a long time to get through it. He got through it this week,
Yes.
and he just went through it.
Yes.
Wow. He was good.
Yay.
Way better. Even
Great
Tama
job.
commented on that.
Yes. So everyone there, that if this was their second week, they did an amazing job. Great improvement. The culture part was was really good. He explained where everyone sat in the fale, the sa'o, the faifi'ao,
awesome.
awesome.
Tulefale, the
Tulefale, the front of the house, Talaluma, the back of the house, Talatua, where everybody sat. So it was really good.
The Almonga.
So that was good. Carl.
I bought that. I can't blame this one on you. This one was on me.
What do you call it?
Full
mea. Yes, Carl did an amazing job doing that.
I messed that up because at the break, I had said it to you to see how it sounded, and you said you're going too fast, like you're just flying through it.
Right.
Just slow down.
You need to put some commas in there. So I had
Mm-hmm.
written it out, and totally not understanding what was. I mean,
What
I
was
said,
being said.
the first time Naki threw me under the bus. This time I
totally
can't say
did.
that I messed this up. So at the break, because she had said you're going too fast when you speak it. So I went up with it and I said, "Hey, can you help me put the commas where they go,
Yeah.
so that I sound right? I'm not just racing through it." And he goes, "Oh yeah." He goes, "We go here, and then you've got the sentences broken up." He goes, "You got it." He goes, I would pause here and do that." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." So I went back to my seat, and this is after we went to break. So you would do that before you go to break,
Right.
So we come back, and then he starts saying, "Well, the guy that I usually pick on, which is Soma, the guy I usually pick on to do this, to announce the food, isn't here today." And right then I thought, "Oh yeah,
He's gonna get you.
I messed this up." And after we already ate, so I can't blame that one on Naki, but I did figure out where to pause and
that's good.
where to slow down.
It's musical. You know, when you speak, there's a little flow to it.
Yeah, it's awesome. So Carl did a really good job.
Nice.
We had panqueques. Keep panqueque. I think Teresa was in class. Yes, her mom made panqueques.
Nice.
So those
I
were
love
yummy.
panqueques.
Yes. I had jelly and butter on it. So
Oh my goodness.
I was in heaven. So it was a really good class. Yesterday, I just wanted to shout out people that came from afar. Real far. I had my niece, Mata Jordan, came in from Georgia. The Rodriguezes came in from Washington. My mama, Chula Vista. Tons of... Malia, my sister-in-law, her family came from Southern California. So yeah, I just thank you to everyone who traveled afar. Yeah, and all over the Bay Area, Pittsburgh, Sacramento, Ripon, just everywhere. I'm just grateful. And
what a great day yesterday was. It started out myself, Pete, Mose, George, a whole bunch of us showed up early to cook and get things set up, and it was cold. I mean, it was cold, and we were all thinking, wow, this is way different, because 2 years ago we were there for Lena.
Yes.
And it was hot.
Right.
It was really hot. So
Right.
we were kind of laughing about, wow, it's going to be like freezing cold. By the time the event started, the clouds had burned off. It was like 69, 70 degrees with a light breeze.
Good weather.
Right.
It was beautiful weather. We couldn't ask for anything better, because much warmer, and then people are like, just scrambling for shade, and much colder. You know what I mean? It's just not very comfortable.
Yeah.
So great day. The dance was amazing.
awesome.
I don't know how long they worked on that, but both of them did a good job.
Oh, Miley and Noah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did a good job. So yeah, it was really, really nice. So I'm just grateful for people who came out and loved on my babies. And then what else?
That as I was leaving, there was a group of people playing very quietly at the center table.
Oh my God!
Very
the dominoes
quietly.
I was gonna say,
table.
was it?
They were
no,
but they were playing. They were playing really quietly and just having a decent game of dominoes.
Right.
By the time when I went over there to say goodbye to Augie, and who was over there? Mac was over there. Augie was over there. That place was like a war zone. I mean, the trash talk was epic. And I don't know. Mac is a battle rapper. I don't want to get into a trash talk situation with him.
A rapper, right?
Man, I was like, hey, just let me duck in and give people hugs and get out of the way, because that place was getting fired up when I was leaving.
Yeah, Mac and my nephew Steve Cato were tearing up that table, and they were talking shit.
Oh my God.
Who's next?
Yeah, Mac was so funny. Like, he jumped off the table and was like, "Who wants some? Who wants some?" I was
Coming
like,
for me.
"That's my boy. That's my boy." So him and Steve, my baby Steve, they were talking smack on that table, and with Johnny, they were playing Johnny. So it was just crazy.
Oh, by the way, I have all 3 triplets at home. Malia's home from work or from college, and they all say thank you because we brought the ribs back, and those got devoured.
Yeah, that sounds so good.
Awesome. So yeah, I had a good week. I missed Utopia getting to the.
We missed you.
Float. Getting the float together. Yeah. So I missed that, but yes. That was my week.
Nice.
How was yours?
You know, it's always a blur. Let's see. We had Talanoa for Wellness last week. It was the last time that I was to facilitate.
So did you facilitate, or did you just kind of watch from the side?
The girls, they did a great job, Ruthie and Saini. And they had everything written out. I was just basically a participant, which was nice to just sit there and eat, and they did a really good job. They were really nervous. I don't know why, but 2 hours is a long time to facilitate a group, especially if the group is not willing to share. So you have to kind of manage to have the group share, but they did a really good job. So we had a couple of exercises that I even learned that I could use for Cafe Wellness in San Francisco. Yeah, so the food was good, and company was good. There was about, I think, 10 or 11 of us.
Oh, nice. Saini cooked?
Saini cooked, and they both have different kind of styles of facilitating. Saini is more the quiet. She did the breathing exercises and meditation, so she's perfect. She's just very calming. Whereas Ruthie is more technical and to the point, and this is what we're gonna do. So they worked out really well. So now they just kind of have to work on their individual styles separately. And I think that they're gonna thrive. They're really good at what they're doing. So
awesome.
That stress level for them was gone.
And is it every
so that was the last series until I guess the next fiscal year, which it would be beginning in July, and then they'll put out flyers and stuff to where they'll start doing those Talanoa for Wellness.
I'm sorry. One thing that I forgot to talk about was Ola Uleo.
I was going to bring that
up.
I really, before you do, I want to thank both of you publicly for such an awesome job. I know Carl had to run off, but you did amazing.
Oh my God.
On your own.
Oh, thank you. It was so emotional for me.
Oh my God, don't start with me. Yeah.
Because the 5 hours the 5 hours came together to talk. We talked about taboo topics and how to deal with mental health and with your church, your congregation, or your ward.
Right.
That was such a groundbreaking event to have these 5 hours in there and to talk about the LGBTQ. I think it made a huge difference, your story, and then to have you there.
Yeah.
They didn't really, I guess it hit them that they were very emotional to have you to see your story and to know the struggle and the journey that you went through. I think that was huge.
I was looking at
huge.
At the descriptions, and when I was looking through those, because as you were going to announce one, I was going to announce one, going back and forth. So I was looking at the ones that I needed to announce to make sure that any questions in there. And as I read through it, I was like, that's, and so I walked over and I was all, Neil, is this you? And when you said yes, that to me, and that's what you had talked about, was the impact of having the person in the room. I was so happy that it was you. Yeah. One, because the way that you speak, you touch people when you speak.
Yes, you do that anyway.
There is that, regardless of the topic, you're able to, that's your gift. You reach out to the crowd, you get the energy, you play off the energy of the crowd. So I know that no matter what the topic is, you're going to do a good job of connecting with the crowd. But because of the topic and the audience and your gift, I was like, oh, this is perfect. Like there's not going to be anything missed when this story plays and this man is in the room and able to speak to it. So when Neki had told me how that had gone over, I was like, there was no other way for that to play out because of who you are and because of the story.
Yeah, and I love that the Faika Owls were so open to receive the information, to receive the stories, because we talked about sexual abuse within the faith community, the faith leaders, alcohol, how Britt's story, how her dad passed away and she took over raising her 9 siblings.
Yeah, that's very powerful.
But I wish that everybody that was there, and I know they couldn't make it because for whatever reason, but to have you there and to tell your story and to have these Faika Owls so open to it. I mean, there was even
amazing.
an elder there, an elder Faika Owl, Ta'oa, who's named after your grandfather, which we totally didn't know until after.
Mary did. When Mary took me to the airport, she said, that one is named after my grandfather. So she was aware of it.
It was amazing.
Crazy, groundbreaking. It should have been longer. I believe that it should have been longer.
And I think, Ty and I, we discussed it that next year we are going to make it a whole day and, give other Faika Owls and their first ladies the opportunity to come because a lot of them were unable to come. But, it was just... Tama, who came from 2-6 from San Francisco. That was the only representation from
San Francisco, which was crazy.
It was it's okay because we know we have a lot of churches in San Francisco, and we did reach out to them, but for whatever reason, for them not being there, it's okay. The people that need it, it's a start. And for my story in particular, every church that I've gone to. Because we were raised to go to church, and I've been from every church, from Catholic to Pentecostal to Baptist to Mormon. Everything. Whenever it comes to that particular subject of the LGBTQ community, it's always followed up with, you need to repent, you're going to burn in hell. Right. So it makes But this time around, they were so mindful of talking about culturally how it's been around for many years. Only one Faika Owl tried to almost touch on the base of you're gonna go to hell kind of, but he didn't. He was mindful of the fact that these are mental health issues that we have to deal with growing up.
And it's happening in your church.
Exactly.
And you want your congregation to come to you.
And to talk to you. I mean, my stories, it dealt from everything from bullying to attempted suicide to really finding my voice, right? And I think they all got it. And there was one Faika Owl which I laughed because when he introduced himself, he was from Palo Alto. And they hold services in Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, the only reason why, because Chick-fil-A, it's a Christian, I guess, based business.
Company,
And they close on Sundays so their people can go
to church.
But they're also very anti-LGBT. But when this particular Faika Owl saw my story and was very emotional.
Pastor Barry.
Yeah, Pastor Barry.
He was so emotional.
It gave me comfort to know that now he has seen somebody's story and that maybe they can learn at it differently. Like, okay, they struggle just as we do. But he was very emotional. He was a young pastor, and I so appreciated when he came up to talk to me.
Tina from 2-6.
Oh my God, she really.
She was so emotional.
Yeah, it was a very emotional
day. And she was
day.
crying and gave you a hug.
And that even made it worse because I'm like, oh my God, now I can't
cry.
talk. And it was just, I really appreciate their compassion for all the stories.
All the stories.
And for willing to be open-minded about all those issues.
All we asked was that you come with an open heart and an open mind and receive the information whether you agree or not. And
9, the last one that we showed, which was very impactful, it talked about a priest who molested a young Pacific Islander girl from the age of 12 and her family didn't believe her community didn't believe her, and she went through a lot of trauma in her life. And she's now married with children, thriving because she's really dealt with it. But I think our Faika Owls and First Ladies, I commend them for coming with an open mind and open heart.
Because I had to read the description of that and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
Eek.
We
You know,
kinda
I
shade-
felt a little. I mean, emotionally, I'm connected to it because being a young lady that was sexually
Survivor.
abused,
Yeah,
I'm a
survivor.
survivor. So that, and on top of reading it in front of our faith leaders, I was
Yeah.
like, oh.
Yeah, but I think that there's something to that. That why do we feel that way, right? Because if they're the way that they speak to be, then they're going to condemn that. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I think
right.
the fear is that they're going to take that, like you're attacking the clergy or you're
Right.
attacking
Yeah,
the church.
And we,
Exactly.
and
And
that's
we
what
totally
I did.
weren't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we
Right.
did not want that. That's why we kind of saved it for the last.
Yeah, it's a story. It's her
It's
story.
her story, and it wasn't. And I was kind of happy that we did not have a priest, within our
A Catholic
group,
priest, yeah.
because it would have looked like we were attacking,
Pointing fingers, which
But
totally was not.
It wasn't.
Well, I
It
think
was-
that it's some of those we do need to point fingers and we do need to call things out. We do need
Right.
to say that.
Yeah.
But it's about the individual. It's not
Right.
a condemnation of the entire
the
church
child.
or
Yes.
the entire
Right.
faith.
Yes.
And I think that that's the problem of you've seen people in faith-based organizations take that like, no, that's an attack on my
Yeah.
Right. And it-
everybody
and
And
here.
totally
the
wasn't.
whole point
Right.
is we need is her mental health. We're
Right.
talking about her story and the issues and the problems that mentally, but just emotionally what she was going through. It's
she,
crazy.
she ended up being a cutter.
Right.
Tried to hang herself.
Right.
And all of this stemmed from that
Yeah.
incident.
And you never know what anybody is going through and their
right.
emotional turmoil unless you hear their story and
Exactly.
to have you there and listen to all of the stuff that you were going through. I think for them to sit there and it made them understand. Oh, I didn't know. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, oh, I didn't know. And looking at you, you don't think.
It means so much to, and that's what, like I said, I was one. Because you're comfortable sharing, I was
Right.
happy that it was you. I mean, obviously,
thank
if
you.
you
It was-
weren't, then I
Yeah.
wouldn't have been happy about it at all. But there is that impact of like you hear about it, right?
Yeah.
That's one way, and then you hear about it from a family member, about a friend, or from a family member. That's another way. You see it on a screen, and you see a human being talking
Right.
about not being well and struggling with their mental wellness and their mental health. That's another level. Then to hear the story, that takes it. But to have you in the room,
Yeah.
Right.
after, and then
it makes it
here's the
more-
person.
'Cause
Yeah, way
then
more tangible.
We broke up into groups and
Right.
and discussed stuff. So I love that
That
we
was
broke
good.
up into 3 groups and talked about all the
Each
video,
story,
each
yeah.
story, and so it was awesome.
It
I
was,
loved it.
and shout out to the Samoan Community Development Center
Right.
for really hosting us, and also
And
Patsy
Rams, yeah.
and Rams,
Sweet.
and Poly by Design for coming through. You two are going to be the target MCs for a lot of these.
Oh my gosh!
And Naki, you were, I know you don't like doing live, you like doing this,
Yeah.
right? But you were great. So
Oh, thank you, honey.
yeah, and Carl, I'm just so grateful to be in association with people who share the same passion as I do.
Thank you.
And Tina's, that kudos to them for being
Oh
open
my
about
gosh,
it.
they
And
were so amazing.
yeah, and then of course the food was pretty good.
The food was
Yeah.
amazing.
It was really good.
That taro, the
Oh
kalo.
my god! And that's from Patsy. So Patsy cooked.
Patsy,
she
girl,
made taro.
I'm
and
gonna be
sapsui.
expecting some.
I know.
It was really good.
Everybody was like, "Is there any more taro?" And I was like, "Yeah, go right there."
Yeah.
We have foil.
I
out
took
for you.
taro home.
Yeah, I did too.
It was good.
We're
So
pigs.
yeah, thank you for that. Olo was
Hello, so
freaking amazing.
next year, like I said, Ty and I are thinking of doing a whole day event,
Yeah,
maybe in a
that
bigger
is needed.
space, and and really have it the same structure of showing the films, and hopefully we can get those individuals from those films.
I think
'cause
given
they're
enough
enough
way
time,
in
yeah.
advance, yeah.
like Britt Afu, she now
Sure.
lives in
Utah.
so that's
Yeah.
going to be kind of hard to get her here.
Yeah.
But everybody else is pretty much local, and there were other films that we did not show. We went from, I think, 7 to the 5 that
Yeah,
we
to
showed.
break
We
it
took-
down.
Yeah, just to break it
Save
down.
time, yeah.
But the allied one of the youth talking about their advocacy and acceptance of just the community in general, it spoke volumes because they're young people and they were so articulate, and I'm pretty sure the Faika First Ladies looked at it like, wow, those are our kids.
Those are our kids.
Speaking with such intellect about being compassionate for their community. So that was really great as well.
Yeah, I think times have changed.
It
and
has.
Like the Faika from 26, Tama. He
Tama
is
was-
him and his wife are so forward,
Progressive.
Yeah, they
progressive.
very much are.
That's the progressive. So, and they're funny too.
They are, and
They're
and
very funny.
very compassionate, and I think that's what we need. If your organization or your church is struggling with membership, you're going to need leaders like that.
Yes.
Who are very open to what's going on. I mean,
Exactly.
That's the only way you're going to get them back into the churches.
Into the church.
Because we've all heard rumors like, oh my God, membership is down.
Yeah.
You have to be relatable to the youth. If it means getting an Instagram or whatever
Right.
to really kind of navigate that whole system, then that's what you do. But Tama and Tina, I could tell, look at their language classes.
Yeah.
It's successful because
It's
they're
growing.
navigating, that
Right.
whole thing.
Yeah, you have churches that are, they're full blown. Like, so when I was trying to figure out how to put this together, the studio together, with
Right.
like the microphones and the cameras and the software and
The
everything.
sound.
So all these things. Most of the stuff that I learned was I went online and there were videos from churches that were saying, here's how we set up our sound system.
Right.
And to see the wireless microphones and the PowerPoint projection and the videos and everything that churches are using right now, there are churches out there like 26 that are trying to be, that are progressive.
Yeah,
and
more
they are-
engaging to the youth.
They are.
Right.
And it's something like, I don't know, if you're committed to it and you're committed to growing, it's almost like a company. And if a company stays stagnant and they don't evolve and they don't progress, then you end up like Montgomery Awards and Sears when we were kids, right?
Right,
Those were
Exactly.
staples of the retail
And
community.
They
They're
didn't
gone.
want to change. Yeah,
you know what I
they're
mean?
gone.
And it's the same thing with the churches, like you were talking about, is if you're going to reach out to that next generation and you're going to be able to touch them and bring them in and do those kind of things, it's probably not going to be the same style or the same format that it has been for the last couple hundred years. It's going to have to be something in addition to that. And I think that the churches that are doing that are not losing their identity, you know what I mean, and not becoming, I don't know, like a Twitter thing where they go overboard the other direction. But like the language class, Tama he's like literally up there singing jokes when he's, I don't remember what he was singing, but he's singing songs and making jokes about the way that sounds go together, the way that letters go together, those kind of things. And it's funny, and we had that, I can't remember who it was, but after the first class, the first week, we were in the parking lot and somebody goes, he's so funny. It makes it so much, I think
easier.
they heard he was a pastor and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to learn language
Right.
from a pastor. That's going to be the most boring thing ever. And then they get in there and they're like, it's not at all.
Yeah, you can't stay with that old regime thinking it's going to work. I mean, I spoke with, and I don't want to put her out there, but a Falitua that they're looking for a church. They currently have one, but they want to come back into the San Francisco Bay Area. And the first thing she said to me is like, we want to do a lot of community stuff.
There
we
you
want
go.
to open up the church and let people come in regardless, if it's handing out clothes or if it's, getting the young people a place to hang out. And, I just looked at her like, see, this is the type of people we need in the churches to really reach out to the community and have those spaces available instead of locking it up.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right. You have to be relatable.
I think sometimes the churches get kind of a bad rap in a sense of like the image that people get a bad taste in their mouth. You think about like Katrina, Hurricane Katrina. The company I work for did a lot because we have stores down there. So we volunteer, we donated a ton of water, tons of food and water and those kind of things, and hours of our associates volunteering down there. But the first organization to set up down there was the Mormon Church. And it wasn't as if they were down there just to save Mormons.
Recruit.
You know what I mean? Like they weren't,
yeah.
They weren't there to recruit. They weren't there to sort it out and give food to Mormons and not to other people. They were down there. Oddly enough, it was them and Walmart that were the first ones that had established the first command central for that. But churches do those kind of things. They do those reach out community kind of things.
Yeah.
And they should, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I totally agree with you on that.
So kudos to you and Ty.
Thank you so much.
It's
So
a great
that was-
first event.
Yeah,
It's a
it
great first
was.
event. Could a
It-
whole bunch of more people been there? Yeah, but it's the first event.
Into the work group, like Leah climbing up and putting up the Siapo, it really brought the room together.
Yeah, she did a great job
It was
decorating.
really a great job.
That room opened my eye. What she did with the room opened my
Right.
eyes to what the room could be used for.
Oh man,
Right.
Because I've been in
Right.
there a lot of times, and I'm always looked at it like, what?
It's a cafeteria.
Kind of
It's
shove
but
everything over on the side. And,
that's very important too. Is when they come in to really see something that these guys are serious.
Yeah.
It's not
Right.
just show up and let's show a film.
Yeah.
It was
But
awesome.
that was part of the week, and then of course, Journey to Empowerment. I went there, and shout out to Project Ohana. We
Yes,
heard about
Daniel.
Daniel and his crew. They talked about HIV, STDs. It was a really engaging, educational piece, and which I've talked to them, and we're going to have them at Cafe Wellness sometime in July.
Nice.
Awesome.
So if you want to know more about sexually transmitted disease,
He's
the
coming
myths,
in.
please, we'll have
He's
the
coming
flyer out,
in.
and that's also part of our duty, or my duty as being a community activist, is really trying to educate those people on those topics that they're really scared to discuss, like sex.
Yeah.
Oh, don't say that word. That's dirty.
That's
But,
dirty.
Yeah. But
well,
we like it.
they're going to learn about
We
sex.
love it.
Yeah, kids are going to learn about sex either at home or through people
on
they
the
respect,
street.
or
Right.
on the street or a playground.
And be informed about it. And then, of course, we'll have topics such as, food, because that's one thing that I struggle with every day. Like, I shouldn't have watched Periscope last night, because I watch Periscope a lot. I don't watch TV, and I just lay there and watch. And, of course, some guy was talking about, diabetes and, chronic heart disease and heart attacks. So I'm like, okay, now I'm freaking out. So let me go somewhere else. But yeah, so that was like part of my week. It was just very busy. Hung out with Shiloh, and here I is.
Here you is.
Yeah.
It is.
How
We're
was
glad
your-
you're here.
How was your week, Carl?
My week was good. I think we're going to talk about it when we get back from our break. Can we actually take a break, Naki, or
Yeah,
how's
let's
that
try
working?
that.
Let's try that. If it works, awesome. If it doesn't, you can hear about my week.
Yes.
Okay.
So, we have received this this song from the artist and the artist's manager. So we have permission from the artist
To play.
play
Ooh,
this.
I'm excited.
So,
I haven't heard it.
How about that?
hopefully we don't get any strikes on YouTube. So, are
yes.
you on?
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go.
Oh, I hear
It's Sydney King with Slide For Me. How about that?
Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the FICA podcast.
You what you want, you won't never be alone. Ride for me, could you slide for me? We could take it nice and slow. You ain't got no place to go. Ride for me, could you slide for me? Baby, hop in my drop top. I see you flying cause you got it, so I know you ready. Why your ex tryna cock block? Say he miss you, he regretted you, the one he texting. Tell him that the past is the past and that you focus on your future. Tell him that he had his chance and he missed it, so I lucked up. Nah, let's start with 21 questions. I tell you all of my confessions, and if I ever needed you to lie, I know you got my back, so is you ready to ride? If I give you what you want, you won't never be alone. Ride for me, could you slide for me? We could take it nice and slow. You ain't got no place to go. Ride for me, could you slide for me? See, I've been wasting all my time before I got with you, and now that you finally here with me, you the one I'll always choose. Cause I've been peeping, I've been looking, I've been staring at you. Had me scheming, had me plotting, trying to be your lover. If you ever needed something, baby, know I got you. If you ever needed something, baby, know I got you. Let's start with 21 questions. I tell you all of my confessions, and if I ever needed you to lie, I know you got my back, so is you ready to ride? If I gave you what you want, you won't never be alone. Ride for me, could you slide for me? We could take it nice and slow. You ain't got no place to go. Ride for
Sorry. That
Yeah.
was Sydney King with Slide for Me.
They slid out.
She slid out. I apologize. That's all me. That was all me. So we're back. You're listening to the Faika podcast. I am Naki. With me in the studio, as always, is Carl.
Good morning.
And my boyfriend, Neo.
Good morning, girlfriend.
Happy Father's Day to all the fathers that are listening out there. That was Sydney King, honey. I'm sorry. Slide for Me. I love, love, love that song. So
But you slid out too soon,
go
girl.
follow her on Instagram and on SoundCloud, Facebook, everything. Big shout out to Big Al, her dad, who sent that to me. So
Nice. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you. And so, Carl, we were doing check-ins. Yeah.
Let's see. So everything you guys said, I got a taste of Olo'oleo. And then I ran out to the airport. Mary drove me down there. I ran through TSA and made my flight.
Nice.
I
Yay.
ended up in Oklahoma City on Monday night. But
Oh, my God.
I had told
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma City. I told Neil before I left, I was like, "Hey, brother, look what you made. Look what you did. Look at the room.
Right.
Look what you have.
Thank you.
You're speaking to the churches.
Our leaders.
We've brought them together, and we're having a discussion about mental health and mental wellness.
Yeah.
So,
That was awesome.
congratulations, brother.
Thank you so much, brother. I
That
appreciate it.
is an amazing first step, and
Yes.
it really does. It's kind of the launching point, I think, to what you and Ty and the community and the churches can do together.
I think we'll see more with other groups.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
think so, too.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
It would be.
Let's see. So I was in Oklahoma City. I was in Dallas,
Man.
Fort Worth, and then I was in Lubbock, Texas.
Lubbock.
Texas.
I
Lubbock,
just wanted
Texas.
to say Lubbock.
Okay, I love
I
it.
love it.
I love it.
It's my first time ever being to Lubbock, and I was thinking, little Lubbock. What's in Lubbock, Texas?
What was in
Texas
Lubbock,
Tech,
Texas?
the
Yeah.
University of Texas Tech,
okay.
is in Lubbock, and that campus is beautiful.
Is
it
it?
is
Oh, wow.
unbelievable. It's ginormous. It's huge. It's right in the middle of downtown. It's my first time there, so there may be people going, "That's not downtown," but
Was it a heat wave like here, like we?
It
had?
was not. I kept talking to my wife, and she's like, "You went to Texas to get cooler weather than there is in California."
I know.
Okay, exactly.
Crazy.
And then came back in. Oh, did I get picked up? Did you pick me up at the airport? Is that
Friday.
Went from the airport to Journey to Empowerment. Said hello to everybody. Ate all their food.
That's right. And I turned around and I go, where'd they go?
I know.
Daniel
It's
goes,
awful.
"Are you really going to eat and just run?" We're like, "That's happening right now."
Yeah.
Yep, that's what we're doing.
That's what we're doing.
Ran to class, had an amazing class, and learned a lot of the topics are the same things, but I'm still learning new things. And either I didn't learn very well the first time around, or he's
I
teaching
think
new
he's
things
just
as well.
he's going over like a recap.
Yeah.
And then just to get everybody else up to speed.
Yeah, because I think we're ahead of where we were last time. We do speak Samoan more in these classes.
Right.
I think that when he said it on Malama Lama, repetition.
Right.
And we do that. We say that greetings and that conversation 30, 40 times.
Right.
And then yesterday was amazing as well. It's the whole day of I was there 9 to 5 and I was worn out. When I left, I was looking at Mose like, "You're just a vampire."
I know.
You don't ever sleep,
Carl
right?
calls our family a vampire because we never
Nobody
sleep.
sleeps.
The
Yeah.
vampire family. So, how much sleep did you guys get Friday night?
My kids got like an hour.
Wow.
Yeah, an hour.
And you got about 2?
I know I got about 3 or 4. And I just want to do a quick shout out to my Po'oi Whakava Aaron's family that came over Friday, stayed up all night with my kids. So it was huge, major help. Tiffany, Edmund, and Shelby. Though my girlfriend Kay, who her and I have been best friends for forever. Our kids grew up together, so her kids came over and helped.
That's always it's always amazing to see the lifetime friendships, even from parents, right?
Right.
Because you and Kay go way back.
Well, I love that because Kay and Kimmy, my other sister, we grew up together. So we had kids the same age, and our kids love on each other. Like,
That's so nice.
they're brothers and sisters. So I love that our relationship, our kids love each other just as much. So I love that happened.
Yeah, so I think I got plenty of sleep last night. I woke up, I was still tired. So I don't know how the Molly family does it. They don't get nearly enough sleep.
I know.
That y'all are vampires. You sleep hanging from the ceiling or something. But
Yeah, sleep is important.
I know. Sleep is part of your mental health.
Yeah.
Like, you really need sleep.
it helps you not snap on people.
Right. And I don't think I snap on people that much.
I've never seen you really snap.
You haven't. I think Carl has seen me snap, but
Oh, I snap all the time.
yeah, I think maybe. I don't know.
I've seen it.
Yeah. No, I know you've seen it.
Wait a minute. I take that back. I've witnessed it. Yes.
Yeah, no. Anyway.
But sleep is very important. I think the older you get, the less sleep you tend to have.
Well, you
Right.
suffer from, I don't know, whatever the insomnia. Your biorhythms just don't work the way that they're supposed to. And so people find themselves up at 2:33 in the morning and
That's
can't sleep.
crazy, because I remember, as a youth, 11 o'clock, that's when I rolled out of bed.
Yeah.
You know? Now it's like 4:30 maybe.
Yeah,
And I'm like, shit.
My
Yeah,
daughter,
like
she's
that.
21. She's going to be 21 this year. She still loves herself some sleep.
No,
Like, that
and I
girl
love
can
that.
sleep all day long. Like, she schedules sleep. She schedules sleep. And it's like, no, I'm going to class. I get done with class. I come home and I can get 2 hours of sleep before my next whatever. I'm like, wow, because
That's awesome.
smart girl.
Yeah, don't go to sleep while listening to us, please.
Yeah. You'll have nightmares.
Yes, indeed.
You will have nightmares.
So do you like all that traveling? I mean,
No,
I mean,
it's so right now I'm in. I haven't traveled like this probably since 2014.
wow.
So in 2016 or 17, I stepped down out of a director position into a regional position, and there was less travel. And then we had some goings on with the company, and I received what I was told was a promotion, and basically I got back on the road. But these 4 weeks are really a stretch of getting to different areas that I'm responsible for,
Right.
and meeting with some district managers to go over topics. So because I need to get to each of those, these last 3 weeks have been crazy travel. I am in Louisiana this week, and then I don't have any travel after that. So, but the tough thing about the travel the last few weeks has been go to a city, spend the night, get up in the morning, have 2 meetings, run to an airport, catch a flight, fly to another city, go to bed, get up in the morning, 2 meetings, run to another. That's what it's been. This week in Louisiana, I'm flying to Louisiana. That's where I'm going to be the whole time I'm on the road. So I've only got 2 flights. I've got the flight on Monday and then the flight on Friday. So it's this is easier, and then the following week I don't fly. I don't fly the week next, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks. So
Yeah, that's a lot of flying.
it is a lot of flying. And I have to do a lot of I do a lot of my thankful lists on the airplane.
Yeah.
I do, I'm thankful I have a job. There's people that in my own company that were let go, that don't have jobs. I'm thankful for the things that my job allows me to do, because I'm able to manage my own time. I'm able to do a lot of Poly by Design and Faika podcast things.
Right.
So there's a big long list of thankfulness that I do sometimes. When I had that like 2 weeks ago. I was going through this whole thing of like, this sucks. I can't, I don't want to do this. And then I like made a big long list of what's good in my life and what's not. And I came away with that. And I was like, things really don't suck that bad.
Last Sunday, we went to the first annual Pacific Island Day.
Yeah, that was
at the
nice.
San Mateo County Fair.
The first time they ever had a whole day dedicated to Pacific Islanders, and a whole bunch of people that we knew. I always think about that. Sometimes we walk in, I was like, this is, I wonder who we're going to, know that table, know that table, know that person,
Yeah.
seen that
Almost
person.
every other table,
Yeah.
somebody.
And it's a lot of and I was thinking of that. It's a good thing and it's not a good thing in my mind of that. It's the same people, and that's good that it's the same people because it means that they're committed and
to doing the work.
they're visible and they're doing the work. But I almost would rather end up going to events and not knowing anybody and going, wow, there's a whole bunch more. And I'm sure there are. I just don't see it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying that we know the only people that are doing the things. There's a ton of people that we don't know. But in our circle or in our geographical area,
right,
it's a lot of the same people.
Well, for me, it was great meeting the Micronesian community. It was the Palauans, right? They were right next to us, so I introduced myself.
They seemed a little overwhelmed.
You know what it is they're not an organization. They're just a bunch of friends and family that have gotten together and like taking their culture on the road. So there's really no structure. There's really no... Yeah, they did see, and they were young. They were young people, so they all kind of hung out. But
good for them, though. That's not an organization, and they're still doing it. That says something.
No, and it does, and that's normally how it starts. I mean, I went and tabled for the Samoan Community Development Center, and sometimes information doesn't get passed along. But you were very good at winging it. So I showed up. And we were given 3 tables, which is that's a lot of space to fill.
A lot of linear footage there.
So I was like, wait, 3 tables, and so I had to text home and my sister and then said, bring this, bring that, and it ended up working okay because normally I would like just clutter the table up with a lot of information, but it worked out nice. The one item on that table, on one of the tables that kids were drawn to was that weapon, the hook. Oh. Like from Moana, right? But
people were coming over taking pictures with that thing.
Yeah, and they were like, is this for sale? And I'm like, no, it's not for sale.
Neil's like, no, well, if it were, what would you pay for it?
How much you want?
How much you want for
it? For 10 grand?
Yeah. But that was the one that just caught everybody's eye, was that one hook. And that's the power of the movie of Moana, right? Because normally they wouldn't care, but kids were just standing there and like,
that's Maui's thing,
touching it. And so KK, who came with me, had to really keep an eye on that because kids were just eyeballing that thing as they walked by.
Good thing it was big.
Yeah, and so we just had a lot of artifacts, and thank you to the Tahitian and the Hawaiian tables because I had forgotten tablecloths.
Oh,
and
nice.
with our poly people, they kind of saw me in distress, like I'm trying to what am I, newspaper, what I do, and they just walked over with tablecloths and they go, can you use this? And I'm like, oh, thank you.
I love the Pacific Island Day because it they tried to get all the islands represented,
right. Exactly.
SCDC was there representing Samoa. Nani Wilson and her family were there representing Tahiti.
Yeah.
There was the Tongan table,
group.
Hawaiians, Palauans. Yes.
Yeah, so it was really
was a lot. Rams was there. Ty and Cindy had a table.
Yeah.
Asian American Recovery Services. Daniel with
Project
Project. Project Ohana gave me a glow-in-the-dark condom.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh, it's not a balloon.
It's not a balloon. Okay. But he's like, oh, it glows in the dark. I was like, okay, I'll never use it, but someday.
Someday, maybe.
I'm going to pass it on to somebody.
They do expire.
Yeah. Oh, they do?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, see, that's one of the things I learned in our group.
That condoms expire?
They do expire.
I remember my friends used to carry them around in high school or junior high. Put one condom in your wallet.
Your wallet, yeah.
Hey, that's
just for
expired.
Show.
Yeah. Dude, don't even use that. The one thing that I got was the food, right? I mean, $4 corn dogs. Which I was like, really? And there was no poly food.
There was no poly. Well, it's going to get better. It's the first one.
Yeah.
So it's going to get better. Of course, Feel Good Cuts was there giving away free haircuts they always do. I did get to run into Deja Afrotene, who is very big on social media. Yeah. I got to meet her. I got a hug. I was like, oh my God, I'm one of your biggest fans.
Yeah.
And Tisha Inc. was there. We love her. And so, I mean, there was a lot of people. Bex Bumble with For the Culture was there.
She was there.
Shout out to Bex. And so, yeah, it was just a lot of people. Cisco was doing the show on the
stage.
Yes, he was the MC. Reno on Hawaii, Tanel, the Sua sisters. I mean, lots of entertainment.
Because it wasn't just for the polys. It was really trying to educate the community that came through, which were a lot of non-polys.
Mm-hmm.
And it some of the questions that were given to me, or they would ask or make comments, you just wanted to reach over the table and say, wait, what? But it's our job to educate them and really give them a piece of who we are. So it was good. I really enjoyed it. I didn't like the corn dogs that one. I was waiting for
they were all right. It was okay.
It was okay. It filled me up. Thank you. I think you gave me a couple, and Mary came by.
And fries. We had fries. Yeah.
Festival food is great.
Yes. Yeah. It was really good. The Pitt, who was part of that, did a really good job. Thank you, Pitt, for inviting us.
Yeah.
Raina and her group. So thank you. PIYA performed. Rams was there.
Right. And that was another thing. We started our summer program at the Samoan Community Development Center.
Very nice. Over 100 kids.
Man, let me tell you, sometimes kids can be annoying, but this was so delightful to see all these kids learning Samoan songs and singing and just being engaged in the whole program. And we had a lot of kids that were either biracial or just not a Pacific Islander at all. And their parents had the competence of bringing them in to be part of the whole after school program. So kudos to the staff, because
they did an amazing job. They said there's over 100 kids there.
And that says a lot in itself. But these kids are amazing. I laugh. I Snapchat. So if you follow me on Snapchat, I do snap them as they're singing, because it really touches my heart that these little kids are singing in Samoan and with so much energy and so much gusto that they don't even stop. They're like nonstop performers. And then we had sort of like they're homeless people, or a homeless encampment that was up there.
I remember you were saying something about that.
So it caught on fire. So we had to evacuate the building.
Oh my God!
And the kids were just awesome. They just listened to their teachers and their instructors. And we just kind of hung out in the front and till that was all taken care of. And they just went back into class.
I love it.
Awesome. And then they have lunch with the seniors. So that's kind of comical in itself. Because, old people sitting there with all these screaming kids, like...
They don't want them
don't want them there. But it's good because it keeps them young.
Get out of our space.
We want to play bingo or something.
I know.
Okay. I'm going to go through Essence of Mana, and you got the music ready.
Okay.
We're going to give it a shot.
Yes, we'll try it again.
All right. Essence of Mana Family Night invites you to their family night Thursday, June 20th from 5:30 to 8 p.m. at 725 Price Street in Daly City. Bring the whole family for dinner and a movie, Hibiscus and Ruthless. Come learn about upcoming Essence of Mana cohorts and meet the staff. For more information or to RSVP, contact Essence of Mana at 415-243-6328.
Oh, awesome.
Samoan language and cultural classes started up this past Friday, June 7th. It's going to run every Friday till August 30th. As you can tell, we love these classes. They are amazing, and Tama does a great job in teaching this topic. 3715 26th Street in San Francisco, California, 94110. Enter through Cesar Chavez. That's where the parking lot is. For more information, please call 415-879-0148. Support for our broadcast comes from Utopia, United Territories of Pacific Islander Alliance, Asian American Recovery Services, and AMU, All My Usos, who have their barbecue coming up right around the corner. Third Saturday of August.
Saturday of August.
Put it on your calendar, everybody. It's fun, it's free, and it needs you there.
Yeah, and then our next song is Mo Music with Shoot You Down. You're listening to the Faika Podcast. We will be right back.
Hey, she don't know a thing about me. Pop up, she just shoot 'em back down. Gotta know she don't do that to me. Bang, bang, let me shoot my shot. Baby girl, what you waiting for? We just need to fly away. I might be coming back for some more. All these girls really wish that they had to try, but it's too damn bad, girl, you caught my eye. Stop playing with me, girl, yeah, you're all alone. If I cross that line, you can shoot me down.
I'ma shoot you down. I'ma break your
Yeah,
heart.
you need to shoot me down, need to shoot me down.
I'ma shoot you down. The shots fired as you hit the ground. Oh, you burn bubbles like a boy. I don't give a. Oh, you drive a nice car. I don't give a. Oh, you better think again if you think I'll give it up. If you play the trick again, I'ma bring out the gun light.
Girl, why you never text me? I know you really down for more. Your friends ask why you never let me. You wanna know how I know that they know. Girl, you know where you supposed to be. Right here by my side where you supposed to be. Too many girls getting close to me. Shoot 'em all down, girl, where they supposed to be. Bang, bang, shoot 'em all down. Only me, babe, put 'em all down. All my ladies in the car now. Shoot 'em all down, shoot 'em all down, yeah, yeah.
I'ma shoot you down. I'ma break your heart, boy. You won't hear the sound. Coming like boom, boom. I'ma shoot you down. Shoot you down. Shots fired as you hit the ground. Oh, you burn bubbles like a boy. I don't give a. Oh, you drive a nice car. I don't give a. Boy, you better think again if you think I'll give it up. If you play the trick again, I'ma bring out the gun light.
Shooting all these dudes, yeah, you crazy. Yeah, you never shoot me, that's why you baby. All these boys will never love on a lady. They will never get time with my baby. Yeah. Got all these niggas, it ain't your fault.
We're back. You're listening to the Faika podcast. I'm Naki. With me in the studio, as always, is Carl.
Good morning. Good morning.
And in mic 3, we have the very handsome Neil there.
Oh, thank you.
And then we have a special guest this second hour who's going to tell us about her journey and the amazing story she has. Katarina Henretty, welcome to the Faika podcast.
Hi, thank you.
Oh, here we go. Let's try that again.
Thank you.
There you go.
We can hear
Thank
you.
you.
Yay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
For those of you who is new to your journey and to your story, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so my name is Katarina Rose Henretty. I'm originally from Western Samoa. I was born in Samoa, and I think when I was about 2, I was given up for adoption, and I was adopted out when I was 3. So my adoptive family got me in Samoa when I think it was December 25th. So, you know,
Christmas. Hey,
Wow.
best
So, yeah.
Christmas present.
So they came and got me, and the process of the adoption very early on was we were in Samoa, and then we went to New Zealand for my immigration. So that part to me is still kind of weird because we had to do all of my immigration through New Zealand. And so we finally came back to the Bay Area, and we just like lived our life in here. And then
Wow.
when I think I was about 10, and I looked on the TV and it said Samoan adoption scandal. I was like, what is that?
Yeah.
Right.
So the news came on. It was Good Morning America, and it said that these Samoan kids were wrongfully adopted by Palangi parents. So the Samoan families, the birth families, they were told by the adoption agency that their kids would go to America for 18 years or however long it would take for their education to stop, like college, and then they would come back to Samoa and live with them and be with them. But they would tell the adoptive families that they were their children or we were orphans, and our family just abandoned us.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that was, for me watching, I was like, what?
Right.
Yeah.
And my mom was with me. She was with me, and she was like, what? But I later found out, you know, she didn't really know about the scandal, but she knew that there was something that was very wrong with the adoption. So international adoptions are automatically closed adoption, so you can't have any contact. Yeah, but
Automatically?
automatically, yeah,
Oh,
because
wow.
it's international. But if you domestically adopt, it's open or whatever that you want it to be. I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Yes.
You're good.
Yeah, and so my story was just finding out and then kind of dealing with the aftermath of all that kind of, just questioning like, okay, I'm adopted, yes, but I also have 5 other siblings.
Wow.
And I grew up knowing I had my birth mom and my brother, and they gave us like a photo album saying this was my mom and this was my dad, or this was my brother. And so my dad and I, my adoptive dad, sorry. My adoptive dad.
Don't apologize. You take your time. Take your time.
My adoptive dad and I, we actually went back to Samoa to meet my birth family.
Nice.
He had gotten into contact with my aunt in Samoa and SVSG with Lena Chang.
How old were you then?
I was 12, I believe, when I went back to Samoa. And so when we went back to Samoa, we went to the police station near Aggie Grace.
Yes.
Wow.
And that's where we met my family. But first we went in, we talked to Lena, and there was like a bunch of people, and I was like, okay, hi. And I had no idea who they were. And then Lena was like, okay, that's your birth family.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I went outside, and the woman and the family that was there, I had no idea who they were.
Right.
Because the pictures that the adoption agency gave us
weren't your.
No.
Oh my
they were
God.
just random pictures, and I had grown up. I
Oh
was
my
like,
God.
So you spent hours, I'm sure, looking at those
Oh, yeah.
pictures
I
and
would
trying
tell
to,
people,
yeah.
Yeah, I would tell people, this is my birth mom, this is my brother. I'm gonna go see them.
Yeah.
And then I went back to Samoa. I was like,
Who are these
Who
people?
are you?
Right.
and it was like very surreal.
Oh my God. That is
So
awful.
I mean, after that initial connection, was there a lot of emotion from your birth family?
Oh yeah,
I can imagine.
They started singing a song in Samoan, and
oh my God.
my dad and I were there, and I just looked at them and I was like, these people look like me. I've never had that experience where someone not only is Samoan but is my family, my bloodline.
Yeah.
And it was just, I started crying instantly. I was like,
Oh my God. That's
Yeah.
so emotional.
So, was your adoption one of those where there was the deception of the situation?
yeah.
Wow. And so it's the adoption agency's deception, right? Not
Yes.
your adoptive parents.
No.
It's the
No.
adoption agency
Yes.
basing
Right.
the adoption on falsehoods. Wow.
Yeah.
I could imagine how your adoptive parents must have felt,
Oh,
thinking we might lose you,
Yeah.
because you found your family.
Exactly.
How did your mother and father feel about this whole connection?
My dad wasn't really phased by it.
Wow, the good. Okay.
Yeah, he was just like, well, I mean, we're keeping you.
You're not going anywhere.
Like, you're ours. You have our
Right.
last name.
Right.
But my mom, she was kind of just like, now that you know this, like, how do you feel? And
Right.
she was like, I've never wanted you to not be with like your birth family. Like, we would love to visit them and see them, and that's your mom. Like, my mom, Kisa, she's like, I will never feel weird about you calling her mom, because that is your mom.
Right.
But she was just like, I guess after initially finding out, she was like, well, you're not going back like to live there, but if you need time to be with them for however long, go ahead.
Yeah.
So that was really something. Also, another thing, she wanted to go with me, but she wasn't able to, so it was my dad and I. So she was like, very hurt.
Aww.
Do you still keep in contact with your biological family?
When I went back initially, yes, I did. But within the past 2 years, I've gotten to go and keep more in contact. The group that I am with, which is SARF, which is a Samoan Adoption Restitution Fund,
Right.
that was created because of the adoption agency. They had a payout,
Right.
because they were convicted of the crimes of the.
Yeah.
And so the money that they paid out went into a fund for all of the kids and all of the families to keep in contact.
So was that a conviction, a fraud conviction for the adoption agency?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
There's
big.
over 80 counts, of fraud. And so these families really, all aspects of families, like the adoptive birth, and the kids especially, all deserve to keep in contact,
Right.
So the adoption agency, is it run by Samoans?
No, it was run by the Balinese from Utah. Scott and Karen Banks were I believe the original people who started the adoption agency, went to Samoa and really manipulated the people.
The system and the people.
Yeah.
That's awful.
How sad.
Yeah.
Because Samoa is almost like a third world country, right?
Right,
And you see the devastation, and of course parents are going to want their children to live a better life, and I'm pretty sure they were fed a bill of they'll come back, and and that's probably how they got them to give up their children.
Well, I think
those are lives that are affected,
right?
Yes.
They think because adoption is pretty normal
right?
in the Samoan culture.
It is.
That they're probably thinking of adoption more in the nature of how adoption is normal in the Samoan culture, and thinking, we'll see the kid, when they're 18 or whenever, we're going to stay in touch. And it's amazing when fraud and deception come into play. Usually it's things like, I don't know, fuel or clothing or cars or watches or something. But when the currency is a human being, I mean, that takes the crime or the deception to a whole nother level. That how could somebody do that where the currency is somebody's life, somebody's lineage, somebody's bloodline?
When's the last time you were in Samoa?
When I went with my dad,
Okay.
Yeah.
So I have a question: is how does that play with your identity? Like being Samoan, but yet not being Samoan. You were raised differently, right? So how does that play for you mentally, psychologically?
So growing up, I was raised Palangi, and I was raised very privileged, and I understand that very much now. But I never really fit into my family, and I think that they took that as something bad, but I never fit in because they were all Palangi, and they always said, "Oh, you have beautiful skin, like you're so brown." Like, I don't want to go to a family reunion and be like told about my skin all the time.
Right.
But also, I didn't feel Samoan enough when I met Samoans because they're either really raised in church and really expected you to be in the church and speak Samoan, and they're like, "Oh, do you you need to know like these certain
protocols?"
And I was like, I have no idea. I've never even seen people that look like me. And when I did, I was excited, but also very embarrassed. So
where are you at now with that?
Now I still am very embarrassed because to me, my identity is Palangi and Samoan.
It's really hard. I was adopted by a Palangi family when I was 5 months old.
Yes.
Right? You and me, sister. And there's that sense of, well, I don't fit in here.
Right.
And then when I started being around Samoans when I went to college, I felt like I didn't belong there 100% either. So it was like having a foot in both worlds, but not both feet in either world.
Right.
One of the things that just to shorten a lot of the things how I felt was that I was uncomfortable when I was around Samoans. Like, I was good when I met them in a club or what it was just like, that kind of situation. But when it got into where, you don't, you don't speak Samoan. Oh, just a little bit, right? No, not at all. Like, oh, you don't know the customs, not like, the formality, but the, no, I don't. I don't know Samoan songs. I don't know. So to me, my journey was when I became reunited with my biological family. I've been under the belief that I don't grow I grow when I'm uncomfortable, right? So I put myself in uncomfortable situations. I didn't like hanging around Samoan people because it was me. It wasn't them. It was like I always felt like people were like looking at me sideways, like, you know, that guy, like, what's he doing here?
He's so funny.
Right. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
and it was always like, oh, I wasn't raised Samoa. You know, I was raised Palangi. But to me, it was like, I'm gonna go immerse myself in that. So when we started Poly by Design, it was like, I'm gonna go hang around. I'm gonna be around Samoan people as much as possible.
So any regrets? No. No.
So, you know, I'm uncomfortable. I'm less uncomfortable. There's still situations that I'm in where I'm like, I still feel like, you know, but that kind of that circle, a sphere of uncomfortability is shrinking, where I'm much more comfortable in certain situations. I still have moments where I'm like, man, I understood, you know, pieces of things, but I will the adoption, the always looking for, you know, when I said, I bet you looked at that picture for hours, thousands of hours, probably. Yeah, and you stare at it. So I had my adoption papers, it had non-identifying information, and it had, and this is the paper that was printed when I was adopted. It was in the 60s, so the thing was typed, and all they did was go back over and type XXXXX over it, and they did a good job. I couldn't see it. But man, I used a magnifying glass. Yeah. I held it up over the light. I was like trying to get that name. I wanted that. What is that name? Right. And I looked at it, you know, 45 different ways, thousands of hours of staring at that thing. And then for you to find out that what you were holding that whole time was false. That deception of it's another layer of like, wow, even that was not true.
Well, just to piggyback off what you're saying, and to let you both know, I was raised here around Samoans, but had those very same feelings because I didn't speak Samoan. I didn't know the culture. So it's all kind of relatable in the sense that we do have that fear. It wasn't until I started to immerse myself around Samoans that I became very comfortable being around my people. And then I ended up working in a Samoan organization. But 30, 40 years ago, I would have never done that because I didn't speak it that well. I didn't belong to a church. So I could totally relate to where you're at. And there are still Samoans who were born and raised here with Samoan parents who will not immerse themselves around their people for that simple reason of not knowing, you know.
Yeah.
Are you around more Samoans now, or is it the same?
I moved to Oregon in Eugene.
Oh, yeah.
And if Leo Patrol was here, she was like, where?
Yeah. Yeah.
So no, I have a son, and I really try to give him as much Samoan culture as possible, not just my face, but like we went to a hula group, a halau, and it was beautiful. And you know, just like looking at brown people for him, it's just like look,
they look like me.
But no, I haven't found like the Samoan culture in where I am.
Eugene, is that where you're at? Wow. Yeah. Are there Samoans up there other than
sure
her and Leah?
Me and Leo.
Yeah.
So far.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, but here in the Bay Area, my parents put me into Tahitian groups because the director was Samoan, and she would like try and speak to me in Samoan when I was younger.
Oh, that's good. At least you were exposed.
Yeah, and I go to like as many festivals as I can and try and meet as many Polynesians as I can. I went to BYU for the Samoan language symposium.
Yeah.
And that
is that where you met Leah?
That's where I met
Leah.
Leah.
Okay.
Nice.
I looked at her. I was like, "Girl, are you from the Bay?" And she was like, "No, but I live there now."
That's awesome. That's cool. And you said you and I met at the Aloha Festival.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
see, I'm old, so you know.
No, you're not. You're good.
I was like, "You did?" That's awesome.
Yeah.
So it's good that you're immersing yourself, you know, around the Pacific Island, because that's very important to really just have that exposure.
Yeah.
Where did you grow up in the Bay Area?
I grew up in Fremont.
Okay. Because I was like, Bay Area, there's polys everywhere. You know?
Yeah.
Maybe not in Fremont.
No, there are. I think.
Yeah, no, there are. There are,
I'm sure there are.
Yeah.
When did you move to Oregon?
3 months ago.
Oh.
wow.
Yeah,
So-
I bought a house.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
Congratulations.
I know.
Congratulations.
Trying to move you back down this way, but you can't buy a house because nobody can
Oh
buy
my
a
God,
house
it's
down
so
here.
expensive here.
That's how you buy a house. You go
You
that
go
way.
that
You don't
way.
come from there to here.
Yeah.
You go that way.
Well, a friend of mine whose daughter is 23. She lives in Ohio. She just bought a house.
Mhm. In Ohio.
In Ohio.
Right.
3.5 bedrooms for like 75,000.
Whoa.
I'm moving. Well, no, I'm not.
No, you're not.
But I mean, like, who can buy a house
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I'm 20.
There you go.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And,
Good for you.
we bought a 3-bedroom.
Oh my God. Sit on it for a couple of years and come back.
I will, and I'll rent it out.
I
Yeah.
know. Oh my
Come back.
gosh. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So you're in school there?
Yeah, so I was originally gonna go to U of O, and I was like, oh my God, the amount of money I have to pay to go there.
Oh,
thank you.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna go to Lane for now.
Awesome.
That's good. You
Yeah.
know, education is education.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what are you studying there?
Business.
Business.
Yeah. Originally, I wanted to do bioengineering,
Uh-huh.
mostly because genetics, didn't really
Yes.
know 'em.
Yeah.
There you go.
So I was like, all right, I can do this. I was like, I don't like this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's
So-
actually how I found my family through genetics.
Same.
23andMe.
23andMe.
Yeah, I'm actually, when I did that, I found a girl who was adopted by who was adopted out from someone, not through the same agency, but she was my cousin, and I
Oh,
reached
wow.
out to her, and I added her into our group of kids that were adopted out by the same agency, and we just talked about meeting again, all of us by ourselves, just the kids, and just like meeting each other, because she had never met anyone like her before. And I also met Friday with another adoptee that I met about 10 years ago
Oh, wow.
here in San Francisco, and that was so cool, because she had never met anyone else other than me.
Oh, wow.
And I added her to the group, so now we're just like a whole family of kids that were adopted out and are the only people that really understand each other
Uh-huh.
with being Samoan
Yeah.
and living in the States, because all of them are on the East Coast or
Oh,
on the
wow.
South,
Oh,
or in the
wow.
South. So they don't have any Polynesian like around them.
Connections, yeah.
And that's why I really wanted to start the process of like finding out what happened to us in a way, but also letting them know how to start their process of finding out who they are and understanding what it's going to take emotionally to not only find their parents, but just if they find something they don't want to.
Yeah.
You
Right.
know,
Have you found, you say you have siblings in Samoa?
I do. Yeah, I met them. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Have they,
Yeah.
I was going to ask, have they come out here to the States? Or?
No, I don't think they are able to unless they have a passport.
Right.
Ah.
Green card or visa.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
work visa usually.
Would you go back to Samoa?
In a heartbeat. In
Yeah.
a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to go back to Samoa and see my family.
Do your
Yeah.
family from Upolu or Savaii?
Upolu.
Uh,
Yeah, but most of them are actually from Monono.
Mm.
Yeah, off the island,
Oh, that little island.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the little boat right away.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's so amazing.
Yeah.
And is your biological mother still alive?
yes.
And do you keep in
yes.
contact with her?
I try to, but I found out last year she has a twin brher that lives in Compton.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I keep in contact with him a lot. You know.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then I also found her sister, and I called her a few weeks ago and talked to her for the first time, and she said, "I'm your auntie." I was like, "Thank you."
Aw,
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
Yeah. I think I really started trying to find my birth family because my adoptive father actually died a few years
Oh,
ago.
I'm so
I'm so
sorry.
sorry.
Yeah, happy Father's Day.
Aw.
It's okay. But yeah, after he passed, it was like, all right, I need to find more family.
Oh.
Yeah.
So how are you feeling your mental health or your mental space about really finding all these connections? I mean, is it really uplifting you to know that you have so much family out there?
I think it's very uplifting for me. I think that my mental space or my mental health before wasn't very good with the whole adoption thing. Like, who am I?
Right.
But now it's like I've never been more proud to be someone and more proud to be adopted and be in the States and be able to give back to whatever family that I have.
Yeah.
You know, and just finding out more about me as I get older is kind of hard.
Yeah.
But
she says as she gets older, you're 20.
I'm 20.
You're not getting older. You're just starting to thrive. So now that you're in Eugene, you know, and I know they have halaus up there, and they probably, it's really a good way just to start that connection. They may not be Samoan, but you know, a roundabout way, there is some connection. So I hope that kind of works out for you. And you have a son or a daughter?
I have a son.
Ah.
He's 2.5.
Oh my gosh, he's a baby.
He's a baby.
He's
so
crazy.
Yeah.
Is he buck wild? Is he, yeah,
Start him
terrible
off
twos.
young. Have him go into some drumming, you know, with the halal.
Yes.
You know, that'll get
the
a lot of
class.
There you go.
Yeah.
And you know, it's a process. My son is adopted, so it was a different type of adoption process. I just picked up the phone and I called Samoa and I just said I want to be a dad, and they were like, okay, we go look for family. And so, you know, there were two women who were in our family who were pregnant, and one decided she did not want her child to be off island, and the other one was like, when can you pick him up? He'll be born on. So my son was 3 months when he was born, and when he was adopted, and he's 25 now. But he himself knows his biological family in Upolu, and it was good that we told him, I told him at the age of 10 of his adoption, because my mother was hysterical. She was like, oh my God, he's going to leave us when he gets older. He has no inclination of moving to Samoa. He's a straight up American kid. And so that whole adoption process, it's so funny. You have to go through that. And I just kind of picked up a phone and can somebody give me a kid? You know? And that was how it was done back in the day with Samoans, but not with these adoptions.
There's a whole bunch of adoptions that are like that, where it's just, you know, your uncle raised.
Yeah.
You know.
I was almost adopted out. Like my aunt was going to take me. She was like, she told my mom, okay, I want him. I was like, God, it was like a puppy. And then somebody else was born, and then she goes, oh, never mind, we're going to go with that one.
Oh. Okay.
You know?
Yeah. There's, I guess, talking about siblings and the adoption, a lot of the kids were also middle children within their families. Like not like me.
Do you have siblings?
Here in the U.S., I have my sister, who my dad actually adopted domestically. And I have another sister, but we don't really talk.
Was she adopted?
Yeah.
So all three of you were adopted?
Yeah.
Oh,
my
okay.
dad, he had a biological daughter, but unfortunately she passed. She was about 6 years old.
Oh.
Yeah. But but our biological families were the middle child. And I think there was a lot of guilt for me finding that out. I'm like, okay, they're back in Samoa, and there's me who's now in the U.S. Like, I just don't want them to hate me.
Yeah.
Because I have, I guess, what I would say, more opportunity, not necessarily a better life, but more opportunity in the U.S. So I think that's a lot of how the kids feel that were adopted out as same as me. So, yeah.
Yeah, we just came back from Samoa, and there is a lot of poverty.
Yeah.
With kids, you know, they're out on the street selling
asking
goods,
for money.
asking for money, and you know, I just kind of look at that like, wow, that could have been my son's life.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Yeah. That's how I felt with myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
we went back. We went driving around the whole island because we got lost. But towards like the country area, they said some of the kids there don't go to school.
Yeah.
Because they can't get transportation, or they can't afford to send their kids to school.
Right.
So
it's so like, really?
Yeah.
You know, and still today, but I guess, you know, in the rural parts of the island, that happens, and they're the ones who do all the mokmangas, who, you know, climb the trees, get the families food. And, wow. So
they're doing adult stuff. You know.
So do you remember the first Samoan person that you saw, or is there a definitive time where you're like, well, this is the first
moment?
Actually, I was thinking about this the other day. My mom and I had gone into Safeway, and I saw this woman in like a really long dress, and it was floral, and I saw her face, and I was like, Mom, she kind of has the same face as me. And I looked at her and I asked her, are you Samoan? And she said, yes. I was like, I just cried. I had never seen anyone that looked like me. And then I kind of just followed her around the store. And I told my mom, I met a Samoan person. She was like, yes, there are. They are here.
Yeah.
But I think initially seeing that, I was like, oh my gosh, like, I need this. I need to be around brown people.
Aww.
I think I was like 6 when I first saw the first Samoan, you know? Yeah.
Do you remember when you first saw the first Samoan person? Was it T?
Yeah.
Oh,
first
wow.
first Samoan person. I was 18.
Yeah.
So I grew up in a real rural town. There was one other black kid in the whole high school. There's some Mexicans, but it was me and a black kid. That was it. There wasn't Mexican or white. And I didn't see another Samoan person until I was in a nightclub in college. And he's like my best friend to this day. So as soon as he heard my story, he's like, oh yeah, it was like he took it as like his mission to introduce me to as many Samoan people. Right? Yeah. And I was in, he was in my wedding. I was in his wedding.
Wow.
We've been best friends since, but that was, I remember turning around and I, obviously seen him on TV, seen pictures and that kind of thing. But when I first saw him, there's the plexiglass because he's on the over 21 side. I was on the under 21 side, and he's knocking on it. He's like, "You Samoan?" I'm like, "Yeah, but you're freaking me out. I think I don't know if you're mad at me or what.
Right. I don't want to talk to you."
So yeah, but I was 18 in college the first time that I probably saw a Samoan person.
Didn't know,
but I didn't. I never had a conversation with one until I was 18.
Wow.
Yeah.
I saw like I guess I saw Polynesians on like the movie screen. Like I think Star Wars was when I really first saw. I think it was Jake. His name's not Jake, but he like plays Jake.
From Once We're Warriors, or
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think so.
Oh,
yeah.
once I thought you were talking about Star Wars.
No, he was in Star Wars. Yeah.
Bowling, I think. Yeah.
Oh, with his son.
Yeah, with his son. They were Modi. Yeah, and I was like, he's Polynesian. Yeah, and I looked him up. I was like, yeah. So I was really proud of that. So every single time I saw like a Polynesian person, I was like, you better watch the movie. You better watch it. You better watch it. Yeah. So now with like Fast and Furious, I was like, oh, he went back to Samoa. He went back to Samoa for that. Dwayne Johnson went back to Samoa. I was like, okay, rep the culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. The foundation or the group that you're in, what is it called?
SARF, Samoan Adoption Restitution Fund.
And when did that start? Did you start it or
no?
Okay.
I think it was started in 2003, maybe later. But that's when it started.
It was started for
you
guys.
Yes, for all the families, and it was basically just to get communication, whether it was like language classes or just like if you wanted to send pictures or notes or just letters to your birth families and they wanted to send it to you, they could, and we would pay for it.
Oh wow.
Yeah. They went back to Samoa 2.5 or 3 years ago. I think 2 years ago. And all the kids sent them photographs and letters that they wanted to get to their birth families if they found them.
Yeah.
And so they met at a hotel and they had so many families. It was such a great turnout for everyone. And they gave them these folders of the kids' like lives. And some of them got like to FaceTime their family for the very first time ever.
Wow.
And I was also able to FaceTime my birth family.
Oh, nice.
And just seeing my mom and seeing my siblings just cry because they were looking at me on the phone. It was just...
And do they look like you?
Oh, yeah. Yes. My brother actually had a daughter. So my son has a cousin in Samoa. And... my God, it was just beautiful. It was beautiful.
Oh.
So the big question: do you eat Samoan food, or do you like Samoan food?
Not really.
It's an acquired taste. Well, like
It is,
palusami. You know what palusami is?
I've had palusami.
How was that for you?
It was interesting.
Yeah.
I grew up with like unseasoned potatoes. So.
Yeah. I can imagine.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
about you, Carl? I mean, when you first had Samoan food, I mean,
Well, to me, when I was around T and the Samoans I met in college, it didn't matter what it was. It was Samoan food. I was gobbling it up and going, and I figure out later whether I liked it or not. I like most Samoan dishes now. Some of the banana dishes.
He doesn't like fa'i. He doesn't like fa'i.
really?
Yeah,
In
Yeah.
fa'alifu? I mean, in coconut, you still won't eat it.
No, he doesn't like that. He doesn't like. I don't think you like taro too much, do you?
yeah, I like taro.
Oh,
Do you
okay.
like taro?
Oh,
Yeah.
Taro,
I like
breadfruit,
taro.
the real bland
Breadfruit,
stuff.
I like
yeah,
that.
yeah. Carl's taste. I noticed that you don't like too much seasoning or saucy kind of things.
Yeah, I'm bland.
You're bland.
I'm bland.
Are you the same way?
No. I like
Yeah.
spicy food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I like spicy, and I actually acquired it since chemo. I've
me too.
I can eat hotter things since chemo. So I don't know if it deadened my taste buds or what. But before chemo, it was bland.
Yeah.
And then after, like, I'll eat some things where my wife is like, "Are you sure you want to eat that? That's pretty hot." And for me, I'm like, "No, it tastes good." She goes, "Well, then something changed
Yeah.
because I didn't used to like spicy stuff."
Wow.
Yeah.
I like Tongan food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I grew up kind of with a Tongan family, so I definitely knew a lot more Tongan than I did Samoan. So
Oh
it's like,
wow.
It's
I
not really
think I'm both.
that much different.
No.
No,
Well,
not too much different.
Same
Yeah.
base foods. I mean, it's
Yeah.
going to be the same.
Palusami,
mean-
pulu.
Is your biological father Samoan?
I actually don't know my biological father. I would love to.
Does she know where he is, or?
I actually asked my mom who my dad was, and she said she didn't know. So
Oh.
I'm gonna take that.
Do you guys
answer.
all
Are you-
have the same father, or do you guys have different fathers?
I think we all have different fathers.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
except for my sister. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Have you taken 23andMe? Oh, you
I have, yeah.
Okay.
yeah. When I was at BYU, I had someone translate to my uncle and ask him if he knew my birth father, and he said no, but he also was able to tell me what village he's from and his last name.
But he doesn't.
But he
But he
doesn't
doesn't
know
know.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have that. I have the name and the village he's from. And he also got remarried. So I
Oh,
was very
but
confused.
he doesn't know him.
He doesn't
though.
know him
Yeah.
till this day.
That's so
I
Samoan.
love when we do that.
Yeah. But
Oh
I
my
don't
God.
know him.
I don't
Yeah,
know him.
I don't know, but I'll give you all of his like IP
Yeah.
address, everything.
Yeah.
Everything, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
that's
wow.
very
Yeah. I don't know what it
Samoan.
is about that.
Yeah,
though.
he wasn't on my birth certificate either, and
He wasn't.
No, and the affidavit that the adoption agency gave my mom, they didn't give to my father.
That's the same way that my paperwork is filled
yeah.
out. Was my mom filled out the information
Yeah, my mom
about
did.
my father, but it was all non-identifying information. The name wasn't used. And the same idea where I'm like, I get the feeling like somebody knows, but
Yeah.
somebody's just not telling
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, and also with all the kids, I think only 3 of us know who our birth father was, and them willingly coming out and talking to them. But I definitely think that we all should know our birth father.
Yeah, I
Right.
think the
I think
stigma
so.
behind that.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
it
think
goes
so
back
too.
that
Here's
far.
how I feel about
mean,
that, because I've had years of why doesn't somebody tell me?
Right.
That's not on me. It doesn't reflect on me.
It
That's
does not.
somebody else's thing.
Yeah.
If they don't want to tell me,
Right.
that's on them. I wish that I knew. I know people know, but they're not giving me that information.
Right.
That's not on me. Right.
Yeah.
That's,
No, it's not. It has nothing to do with it.
Right.
But it's like I said, the secrecy around it for whatever reason.
Yeah.
That is it something that just
Well,
happened? Or?
Yeah.
it's shame in some sense.
For
It's
sure.
somebody
For
else's
sure.
shame that's not yours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not your shame. It's not my shame. It's somebody else's shame or reasoning or whatever they want to call it. That they
In
don't
their
give you the
mind. In
information.
their
That's
mind,
on them.
yeah.
They carry
Exactly.
that. They carry. If I'm withholding key information for somebody's life and I'm not giving it to them, that's on me.
Exactly.
This is
Yeah.
not the situation. I'm on the other end of it, and I just got to be good with what I control.
Right.
Yeah.
I've
he's
had
so
the conversations. I've had the conversations with people that I know, and It just said the
Doesn't that
information's come
anger you,
out.
though?
Yes.
No,
Doesn't it-
he's really good about it.
I'd be pissed.
Carl is a really good person.
Yeah.
Like, I know I hang around with him all the time. So he really, really is a really good person. Me, on the other hand,
You're
I'm like
the
total, like, if you know, you already busted out. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? We
Right.
already know you had a child. The story is out.
Yeah.
Tell us who the father is. Just to put, I know he doesn't care. He's like, he cares. But
Right.
to me, I'm like, can he know so he can know the rest of his family? So if you
Right.
don't understand, like, I've spent hours with him. So I know that there's a connection that you need. There's
Yeah.
just like,
No,
I
for
don't know.
real.
There's so
I don't-
much.
yeah, what I think is there's like just to piece the pieces together and to, I don't understand what you're going through, and I totally don't understand what he's going through. But I know it's crazy to not live your truth.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, I think that how I feel, if I felt there was a void that I needed to fill, like that got filled when I found my family.
right. Right.
If I still felt like, man, there's
There
like
was
this
something.
Yes.
emptiness that I
Yeah.
need to
Yeah.
fill up,
Yeah.
I'd be more assertive, aggressive, whatever,
Right.
dirty
Right.
about it.
Right.
But I don't. I feel like I found what I was supposed to find,
Yeah.
and I'm doing what I was supposed to do.
Right.
And the rest of it, if it don't come, it don't come. I'm okay with it.
Right.
But if I wasn't, you know what I mean, it would be a
Yeah.
different thing. I would be doing different stuff, and some of it maybe wouldn't even be, might be backhanded or
Yeah.
dirty to find out what I feel like I got to find out. But I feel good about what I'm doing.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like I found what I was supposed to find. So if that information comes, great. If it doesn't, great too. I'm okay.
Yeah.
But if I hadn't found my family, I wouldn't feel that way.
Right.
You know what I mean? If I didn't know what I know now, I'd still be running around trying to figure out,
Yeah.
who am I?
I definitely understand the missing a piece and then finding family. And it's like, all right, I'm good.
Yeah.
I would just
Yeah.
like a face. I like
Yeah.
with talking to all the kids. Like, I just need a face, like, to not necessarily acknowledge like my life really, but just I want to hear his voice. I want to like see his face and really know where he comes from. I don't really need him to ask about my life because
Right.
I don't
Yeah.
owe him really anything.
Exactly.
But I would just love to see like, where do I
Right.
get this?
That's
Yeah.
where I'm like the knowledge. I don't need anybody.
No.
I don't
To
need
validate anything.
I don't need to be
No,
validated.
no,
I don't need
no.
people to validate me. I validate myself
Exactly.
on how I feel about myself and how I carry myself.
Right.
But knowing would be cool.
Yeah.
But it's just not something that's important enough to me to go make a whole bunch of noise about.
Right.
A question: What were some of your favorite movies or books growing up as a kid?
Okay.
Books or movies or stories?
Okay, story. I actually really like Jungle Book.
Uh-huh.
I really liked British film. My dad was Scottish, and he grew up in Scotland. But I think my favorite movie was oh my god, it's an old movie, South Pacific.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and then
Where she says, "I'm gonna wash that man right out of my hair."
yes,
Oh,
Yeah.
See, I be
Kita,
knowing.
Kita.
Hey.
Yeah. Books. I didn't really have a lot of favorite books. Don't know why. Game of Thrones was like a good book, but not necessarily growing up. Yeah, I don't
So
really
it
know.
was. It's almost sounded like there was still that longing, right?
Mm.
South
Oh, yeah.
Pacific is a pretty old movie. I mean,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and there's a longing to know, or is that where I identify? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of my favorite books and stories, Star Wars,
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings,
Right.
The Hobbit, those kind of things are all quests.
Mm-hmm.
And usually adopted kids are on, the quest stories where
Yeah.
they're on a quest because it's about, Luke, right? Didn't know who his father was,
Right.
didn't know, raised by his aunt and uncle.
Mm-hmm.
And I never really understood it. Why? But I remember watching that and I was like, back in the day, if you watched a movie 13 times, you paid 13 times. It wasn't like you could just watch it on, on your own screen.
Right.
But all my stuff was about a quest.
Right.
Everything that I loved or I was intrigued about was something to do with a quest. And later I figured, oh, it's about my life.
Right.
It's about I'm
Right.
trying to find out information.
connection, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
I understand that now. I've always looked for films or TV shows. Like there's a TV show like The Fosters, and I really watched that. I was like, okay, that's me. That's me.
yeah.
That's me. Yeah, that's me. Like not feeling in place with my family, but they want me to embrace them. Like I want to embrace you. It's just it's hard.
Yeah.
I remember coming home crying in elementary school, and my dad told me, because I don't want brown skin, because I fought all the time in junior high, middle school, not so much high school, because sports and girls and those kind of things. That point is like the bullying. I'd grown up a little bit, but it was like middle school and junior high. Man, I was fighting all the time, and I remember coming home just like, I don't want brown skin anymore. Like this is cross to bear, man. I'm fighting all the time because I'm getting called names, and my parents would explain to me, look, if somebody calls you nigger, they're ignorant because you're not black. You know what I mean? Like they're not even using the right slur, and that all made sense when I'm sitting across the dinner table with my parents. Right. You get on a schoolyard and somebody says that, man, you're swinging. So I just I didn't like it. I remember him saying, at some point, because when I was little, girls were like unheard of. You know what I mean? You're a brown kid. You're way different than everybody else, but different's not cool until like later until high school, right?
Like, you're unique.
Yeah, when I was younger, man, I was like, I don't want to be different. I want to be the same. I want light skin. I want to be just like everybody else. I don't want curly hair. I don't want people to look at me and go, that? You got cute eyelashes or those kind of, that kind of crap. I'm like, I just want to be the same as everybody else. Later it came where I was proud of who I was. I was proud of my heritage and those kind of things. But man, it was tough growing up.
Growing up with like Balangan parents, like kids were so mean. Like they would ask me very invasive questions, but like, oh, did your parents not want you, or is that why you're with them? Like, oh, you're a foster
kids
kid.
Are mean.
Yeah, and then they would bully me about my skin not being the same as my parents. They're like, oh, that's not your parent.
Isn't
like,
that awful?
That's definitely my mom and my dad. Like, no, like you don't look like them. Like my parents look like me. And just growing up with that, I really hated my skin as well. And I actually told my mom once, I tried to bleach my skin. I tried to like get the bleach from under the cabinet and just pour it on my skin, see if it would work. And I told her that. She kind of cried.
Oh,
kids are cruel.
They are.
I heard the same kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it was like, and as a kid, what weapon do you have? You got some words back, but when there's like 20 kids saying it, just you.
But here's the ironic thing. It's a reflection of how they were brought up.
Right.
Certainly.
Oh my God.
So if kids are saying that, their parents are definitely the ones who are.
I remember the question of you see the black kid and a white kid in a sandbox, right? And they play together, right? And then the question becomes, what point do they not play together? Do they begin to, because they don't know the difference when they're little. They don't know the difference. When it changes, as soon as the parents can imprint their beliefs on their kids, that's when it changes. Because if not, the kids, but it's when they start getting influenced by outside, outside influences. That's when the kids don't play together. And I always look at that and go, there's a simple answer to that. As soon as they start hearing things that he's different than I am because of color of skin.
Right. Yeah. Even adults growing up were like pretty ignorant. With my parents, there was a lady in line, and we were out somewhere, and she asked my mom, "Was that your foster kid?" And my mom turned around and she was like, "No, that's my daughter." And I wish that was like not new to me, but a lot of people would ask that, or they would say, "Oh, your husband must be big and black." Like, no, he's whiter than I am.
Right.
But yeah, we always got that, and I would be called so many names. Like I called the swat up Mexican a lot, and people would just be like, "No, you're Hawaiian. No, you're this. No, you're that. Like you're Filipino." It's like, "No, I'm Samoan." "Oh, you're Somalian?" Like, "No."
Yeah.
No, just
you end
Samoan.
up funny when before I knew it, because I looked up in an encyclopedia, right? What's Samoan? And I would look it up, and then so I'm like educated to I know where the island is and that kind of thing. And then people would ask, and when I was younger, I'd always end up punting and just going, okay, so like Tongan, no, Fijian, Hawaiian, Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Like Hawaiian.
And
Yep.
that's
Because
what's relatable.
that was it was the
Yeah.
only thing. You would go through the different types of islands and you end up at Hawaii and go,
Yeah.
Yep.
Hawaiian? Okay.
Yep.
Like Hawaiian.
Are your other siblings, are they Samoan, or are they different race? Are they white?
They're white.
Oh.
Yeah. I actually don't get along with my sister. She kind of stole everything from my life after my father passed.
Oh.
Yeah. So I actually became homeless after my dad had passed. I was a sophomore in high school. I lived in my car for a little bit.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I would go to school. My dad and I lived in a house together, and she put it up for sale, and I was nowhere. I found out through a neighbor of mine that she had done that, and it had sold, and she took all my stuff with her. She still has all my stuff. And
So were your parents divorced?
Yeah.
And then you lived with your dad?
Yeah, I lived with my dad primarily, and I was with him the day he died. And so I just watched him, the whole process of his death, and then just kind of trying to cope as a 16-year-old with my father passing, and then having my sister come down and just take everything was really hard. Then also being in high school, trying to find myself,
What was the reason behind it? Was she jealous?
I think she was just very spiteful. It took me 3 days to get in contact with her after he died, so she was mad at that, and she was 47, I think.
Oh wow.
Yeah, she's a lot older.
Oh
Has her
wow.
own life. Yeah, and so.
And how's the relationship today? Still the same? There is
We don't talk.
no connection.
Oh.
Nope.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh well, I'm sorry about that.
That's okay.
No, the best revenge is success. So
Yes.
Yeah, the
Continue
best
doing
revenge.
what you're
Yes.
doing. Yeah.
The revenge is living well,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
Be happy,
Yeah.
live
Yeah.
well, and raise a beautiful son.
Yes.
And are you here visiting? Or
Yeah, I'm here visiting. I extended my trip.
Oh.
When are you leaving? When are you leaving the day?
The 24th,
Okay.
Monday. Yeah, I've been seeing all of the events. I'm like, okay, I'm not here for that. I'm not here for that. Oh, man.
So do you think you'll survive up there in Eugene?
I'm going to pray. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Because Leah, she born and raised in Eugene. Right?
Eugene.
Yeah. We met up
Oregon.
in Eugene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the,
The only
symposium.
Samoans in Eugene are on the team, right? They're the
Yep.
ones that come there to play.
Yep. The ones from American Samoan,
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to meet them too. I'll cook for them, just like come to the house.
So tell us about Eugene. What's that? I mean, I just think beavers and trees. Is that not right?
No,
Ducks and
U of O.
trees.
Ducks
U of
and
O,
trees.
ducks
Yeah.
and trees.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're thinking Corvallis.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Being in Eugene has been very different. Being a person of color here is
Yeah.
it's okay.
Yeah.
Being a person of color in Eugene, and it's very different going to the store and having looks of
Oh wow, I don't think I could.
like white people looking at me like, what the hell is this? And
Are there more people of color moving up to Eugene? Is that no?
Portland in Oregon is the whitest city in the country.
And that's the
Oh.
big city.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
that's
that's
the
only
big
2.5
city.
hours away from us. And so Eugene, it's okay.
Girl, just stand out. Put on pulakasis, headdresses.
Yes,
Go to the store.
I need a pulitasi. Okay.
There you go. Just wave your flag.
I do wave the flag.
Yeah,
No,
there's gotta be.
no sales tax in Oregon.
No sales tax.
If it says
Oh.
$3 on the shelf, it's $3.
It's $3.
But that's not gonna make me move up there.
Yeah, me either. Me either.
I mean, is it cheap? It's obviously
lot cheaper.
Yeah,
Yeah.
expensive.
The
And-
cost of living is a lot cheaper.
In Washington, there's no state tax.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of people that live in Vancouver
Yeah.
to pay no state tax, and they do all their shopping in
Oh,
Oregon.
my God.
Yeah.
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 Ohio, Eugene. Okay.
Well,
I
we
think
have an
I'll-
extra room.
Yeah, I think I'll stay in the Bay for now.
Yeah.
Oregon has kind of a shady past in how that state was created. It was
Okay.
literally created as a kind of a getaway for white people.
Oh, okay. We'll
It was-
see.
You know the history of
do.
that. Yeah, the state was, well, this is where white people can go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No
History.
longer.
History was a big thing for me as well. for learning to be someone. I really got into tattoos at a really young age. And I think because Polynesian tattoos are so adopted by other cultures, and that's really where a tattoo started is as a tatau. That was how I connected with being someone, and just like the early ways of how they do the tattoo, and just the tradition of going to the fala and having family really prepare meals and everything. Like, that's how I got into being super someone. And so being able to teach that to the kids and just families in general is like beautiful, because like now I have mine, you know.
Right.
But
Well, good for you. You
that,
can find the culture no matter how you need to.
Exactly.
You know what's available to you.
Yeah.
You're going to do it.
Yeah, and explaining to people that the haka is not just for Maori people.
Yeah.
It was also, you know, they're like, oh, you do the haka, like someone's have our own too, you know. Like,
I know, I get that a lot. Like, do you know the haka? And I'm like, no.
and we also don't call it the haka.
Yeah,
so-
Yeah.
I can do a fake whakaopaki, but you know, just slap myself a couple of times. Yeah, there you go. Wow. Well, I'm so happy to hear that your journey is really not coming to an end, but really just kind of at 20. How can it come to an end? But you're just starting, and you know, it's really good to educate people about that. What had happened back then, because I do recall the scandal.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, there we go. Another take advantage of the poor brown people.
Yeah.
Right.
And were they promised money, do you think? Or
I think so. You know, it was something that was interesting for all of us kids was when we did contact the birth families, they were like, okay, so when are you coming back to be with us?
Yeah.
Like you're 18 now, you're coming back, right? And living with us. And that's how my mom also was like, you're gonna come back and stay, right? No, we're not. So I don't know really if they were promised money.
Again, I think that's like what is its adoption in the traditional Samoan culture.
yeah.
Isn't that they go away forever.
Well, I think the expectation was also that you came here, got educated, you can go back and take care of the family.
Exactly, that's how it was.
And, you know, I'm pretty sure they were kind of devastated if they thought that throughout the years.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
okay, we can't wait till she grows up and comes back
Yeah.
and helps. And then,
Yeah.
sorry, you know, she's a different woman now.
Right.
Right.
And the two groups that are deceived are the children
Yes.
and
Yeah.
the birth family.
Exactly.
The ones brokering in the middle are the ones benefiting from it.
But it has nothing to do with you.
I know.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't carry that burden. But start kicking some at now.
Yeah, and I was 46 when I found my birth family.
Oh, wow.
Being 20, you know what I mean. That's a
That's
That's
awesome.
yeah.
a different situation.
Mm-hmm.
Not better or not worse,
Right.
but you're younger to it, and you're much more in tune to the culture than when I found my birth family. So just know that all the things that you've gone through, the deception,
Right.
the not giving you information about your father, all those kind of things. Other people own that crap. You know what I mean? That's not on you. You don't carry that.
Right.
Don't carry that. Living well is the best revenge.
You know? Mm-hmm.
Beautiful family, beautiful new home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Congratulations on living
Thank
life
you.
well.
And the
Awesome.
wild
Awesome.
2-year-old.
I'm gonna show you photos. It's crazy.
So if people want to get a hold of you and the organization that you're with, do you guys have a Facebook or
We do. I don't necessarily know if we're like open to the public really like that.
Right.
So
well, if there was another kid given up for adoption that maybe you guys might not know of, how hearing this, what if they're like, oh my God, that's me? How can they get a hold of you or the organization?
I didn't think about this.
Ah.
If I should give out my phone number, if that's okay.
We can do.
No, like-
Here's what we
do.
can do. We'll get your information off
Okay.
off
Yes.
air.
And they can contact.
And we'll sort through what information needs to be public and what information needs to
Yeah.
remain private.
Right.
And then we'll get that out on our social media so that you get a minute to think about it. We're
Yeah.
not like, hey,
Yeah.
give us the information right now.
Yeah.
Phone lines are blowing up.
Awesome. Well, Do you have social media that you want to give out if people want to reach out to you? You put your
I have the public
Instagram.
one. Yeah.
What's your Instagram?
The Throwing Simone.
At the Throwing Simone on Instagram.
Yeah.
So reach out to her if you have any questions or you know someone that may want to speak about it. Any shout outs you want to give before we cut out?
Shout out Happy Father's Day to Brandon Sass. That's my second father.
Oh.
And
Happy Father's Day, Brandon.
my son's dad. Happy Father's Day. You're welcome.
Okay.
That's all you're getting for today.
all you're getting.
All we're getting.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming in and
Thank you
sharing
so
your
much.
story. We've had so many people just so curious about it
Really?
and have been praying and wishing you well.
Oh, thank you so
and
much.
hope that you find everything that you're looking for.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in. God bless
you
your
for having
journey.
Soy fua.
Soy fua. Anything for you, sir?
Yeah, float building this Saturday. Utopia is going to be in the Pride Parade on the 30th. So come on out this Saturday, 1 o'clock. Naki's going to bake and cook
At
at
SCDC.
SCDC 2055 Sunnydale. Let's show some pride.
Yay! Thank you so much for tuning into the Faika podcast. I'd like to thank our special guests for coming down. God bless both of your journeys.
Thank you.
Well, Neil's a co-host. You're listening to the Faika podcast. We're here every Sunday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Come back to Faika with us.
Good.
Good.
Are we still live streaming now?